Sorry I've kept you waiting, but a death in the family has caused a content delay. Rest in peace, my beloved computer. Our decade together felt super short-lived, and I thank you so much for your contribution to my channel. You owe me nothing, and you'll be missed more than I lament for the Attitude Era, Prime Tony Ferguson, and fucking a bitch I'm genuinely attracted to. 1 year after a Black Friday riot in Plymouth, Massachusetts provides a cute little death toll, someone elects to garment themselves in John Carver attire and murder those who instigated and influenced said riot in a manner more seasonally apropos than slutty outfits on Halloween, drink driving during the Christmas holidays, diabetes over Easter, and me spending Valentine's Day getting laid less frequently than a dismantled dining room table. For me, one of Thanksgiving's highlights took place within the first act, a la the Black Friday carnage. It was certainly the most efficiently executed sequence the movie had to offer over its 106-minute runtime. The demise as well as injury depiction wasn't without some form of impact. Also, credit to the cinematographer and all extras involved for emulating the experience endured by a subservient cosplaying as an overworked doormat with a phalange fetish. Act 2 deviates from its predecessor and drifts into the slasher whodunit genre, aka what was advertised. I had hope that Thanksgiving would deliver in this department, and I would say it does so beyond adequacy. Despite our antagonist's weapon of choice being a good old-fashioned axe, it's actually seldom featured in the death scenes, which is a massive thumbs up to the movie, as it chose to not embrace sloth by ways of copy and paste kills, but instead had Mr. Carver conduct business creatively with a variety of on-theme related implements. However, there were times in between the homicides where bloodlust was setting in. This wasn't down to poor pacing, shit editing, or acting that's just about passable. No sir, I'm unequivocally certain the catalyst to my impatience was the fact that I couldn't give a flying fuck about the wet wipes on screen because of how painstakingly generic they were. And that's okay, because you don't watch a film like this for revolutionary narrative or character arc, hence why I cared less for the body donors than I would about the magical journey undertaken by a used condom. The final third of the movie trades the slasher genre for a more psychological horror vibe, which is no surprise considering this is a project written, directed, and produced by Eli Roth, a man whose resume includes the first two Hostel installments and Cabin Fever. I fully endorse a deviation of tone as long as it's sensical, and here it certainly was, but I'm not a huge fan of how it unraveled. So the table is set, fucking literally in this case, for the killer to culminate a year's worth of psychotic dedication. Everything prior was in preparation for this moment, and naturally it was anticlimactic as fuck. Pity too, as this scene had the platform as well as the freedom that comes with a rated 18 badge to showcase something artistically brutal. Instead, the movie went for a number of forgettable sequences that led you to being able to decipher Carver's identity minutes before the grand reveal. All things considered, that's a tasteful amount of time to wait for the plot to catch up with your suss out, unlike Totally Killer, where the gap between me ascertaining who that cunt was and the mask coming off was almost more gargantuan than the circumference of your mum's dinner dumper. Speaking of that, remember during the dying embers of my Totally Killer review I said that if you're after a gorgasm I'd look elsewhere? Wisdom-filled words for sure, but the question is, need you continue searching after watching Thanksgiving? Well, obviously that answer is subjective, but as far as I'm concerned it felt like the movie was metaphorically edging me for the first two acts, but sadly got cramp and jaw lock as the credits were entering sight. Shame really, as I sensed that the gorgasm leading up to the fumble had the capability to make my seat wetter than Matthew Perry's autopsy.